Purity and light of God. These words are meant to be impactful, to have a visceral reaction to the words signifies that you're realizing how the words, purity, creation, all of those words are meant to spark within you not quite a shock, but at the very least, a noticing. And it also can be a disturbance, but some reaction will come of being referred to as purity and light. If it comes in without any notice, if it's just, oh yeah, well, yeah, that's right, purity, light, in an offhanded kind of way, it also is a teaching. It is also a learning, because by not reacting to those words, it shows the ego's dominance in the sense of being cut off from that truth. So the invitation is, take those words, take all of them, and bathe in them. Bathe in the reality, the acceptance that you are the purity and light of God, that you are innocent, that you are the power of God itself, that you are the ordinary magnificence. If those words have become too ordinary in themselves and too familiar so that they just become a mental exercise, they no longer can help in the same way that they were intended. The intention of those words is to shock, to bring attention to a truth that's been possibly forgotten all day, but now can be remembered or accepted. It should be somewhat of a reaction, unless you've been walking all day kind of singing to yourself, I am the purity and light of all creation. It's most helpful if you don't allow those words to be common, too common, that there's no spark of wanting to drink in more. It's like a child sitting at the feet of their grandparent when they're going to read a story, and you want to capture every word because it's a place of learning somehow, place of connection. And those words are for that. They're to connect. And they're meant to be held in your heart and to contemplate what it is that you truly are. Pure creation light. And to be able to accept that you are that, You are that, and it isn't a special place. It is the truth of all creation. And in those words, in that contemplation, you can drop in to the reality of purity, light, and accept that within yourself without wanting it to be a specialness of some kind or more than somebody else, but just resting in it. And then letting the spirit of love take you through your own request. Take me into the purity. Show me the reality of purity. If it's helpful, I'm willing. Help me to see the truth of light and its reality. Open that doorway that is your doorway to the truth of your being. The spiritual journey is not an aside of a life. It is the purpose of the life. It's not an identity for the world where somebody asks you, so what do you do? Well, I'm a nurse, I'm a teacher. I am a spiritual seeker of love, willing to be in that truth. That is the center of your being. The purpose of all living here, incarnating, is to remember the deep oneness of all creation. Purity, innocence, creation of light. Let those true words and their meaning, their significance, let them have you. Let them take you. Take you to the source and the reality of that purity, that light. Welcoming all aspects of truth. It's what you're here for. It's the purpose of this incarnation. And allow these prayers to take you deeper into acceptance. I am Mary of conception. I am seeking to open your heart, offering my love and guidance as your suffering world comes apart. Bring your pain like a flower to open. Bring your sorrow to place at my feet. Tears that are watering my garden in the river of Jordan will meet. O my children, I seek your surrender. Both the path and the message are clear. My Saint John is walking beside you, holding your hand through this fear. Keep your strength as you seek to be humble. Let the power that guides you reveal all the blessings of my holy rapture, confirming you know what is real. Divine Mother, in all aspects of the Divine Mother, is seeking to open your heart, is with you always seeking to open your heart as you surrender. But remember that every time you have a thought that is not of love, a little distance is put between you and the truth of the divine. And the distance is not put there by the divine. The divine, in all aspects, waits patiently, always. But when there is an I know, it steps back. Look with eyes and heart at the firmament, at the beauty of all creation. Lift your mind into the truth and see everything of love that shows itself through the sun and the moon and the stars and the forest, the earth and the sea. Look carefully. There we are, searching for the master that will take us to love as we affirm love. The love on this earth is an eternal light that shines through every element. We are here on this earth temporarily to enter into a purification, into the true love and eternal light of God. The eternal light of God is a light that shines in everything. It is a marvelous light that is in our hearts and our minds as we open. Vou ligar o meu pensamento só onde eu devo ligar. No sol, na lua, nas estrelas, na floresta, na terra, no mar. Esta estrada que estou andando, eu a mesmo mestre andou. É a estrada de Jesus Cristo, onde nos afirmamos o amor. O amor eterno tá puro, que nem todos podem falar. E quem leva-nos nas alturas para nos purificar. O amor eterno de Deus vive nas matas sombrias. E uma luz maravilhosa que ilumina todo dia. The marvelous light that shines constantly in everything. Coatrack. Let this poem be a coat rack that you leave something on, something that you will be better off without, something that if you no longer carry its weight, you will look less cunning and dangerous, less inclined to explode. And you will know more mirth if a thorn in your mind you let me keep, a pincushion, my being, why not, for you? Then the scent of your love will reach others and help draw them from their places of hiding. Their shields they won't need anymore to veil, to hold between our embrace. The world will be known as more miraculous, tender, joyous, and always giving. And your hands, angel, will then too be able to carry more of God off with you, wherever you like to go. You can set him all around in places that you wish him found. That is the power of your intention. A coat rack that you leave something on. Well, is it that easy? That everything that you recognize as made up can be left on that coat rack? Absolutely it can. But when you go to the coat rack and your prayer is, I want every beloved that I have ever known to be completely them, the truth of who they are within God, and for me to see it. I only want to see everyone that I've known as the light of God. I don't want to see them in any other way. I want to see the truth of every beloved, and only the truth. So do you go to the coat rack and put that on the coat rack? Or do you hesitate because within is still an attachment to form of what they meant to you personally or how you see them and their personalities? Do you want to give it to the coat rack, or do you want to hold on to it? That becomes the inner question, and that becomes the purpose of asking the question to begin with. Let a coat rack be here that you can leave something on that you've believed in. This is kind of an inner test that you can check from within. Do I want to truly see the truth of every beloved? Do I want to embrace them in their holy, divine selves? Or am I holding them still in an identity because I'm still attached to it and I don't want them different than what my ego wants them to be? These are ways to question the deeper resistances within. Because the ego, your own ego, your belief in separation, the name, your identity, everything you think you know, all of that identity doesn't want to put anything on that coat rack unless it's by your own decision of how much you want to put on the coat rack. And that is where the healing really becomes so profound, because when you recognize that wanting to hold on and wanting to be in control, which doesn't exist really, but you recognize it, then you can actually come to the realization that eventually you're going to put everything on that coat rack. What are you waiting for? What are you resistant to? And identify that fear, because it's playing a game underneath the unconscious, in the unconscious levels. There's a game that's being played by the ego. So you can call the ego's bluff, if it is a bluff, or even its resistance. You don't have to agree with that at all. As a matter of fact, that's what you're here for, is to stop agreeing with the lies of identity and separation. Eventually, you will come to a prayer so deep that there will be an immense joy to be able to say, I'll be happy to leave that body just right here, and I'll walk in spirit back to God. I can leave everything of this identity, take my hand, and lead me back to the truth. Let yourself go deeper and deeper into reality. There are, in the belief of this world, this identity, there is the belief of levels and degrees. And levels and degrees are being used for everything. I like this better. I like this less. This is more to my liking, not so much that one. One person seems better than another person. One person seems closer than another person. But all of it is levels and degrees that the ego has made up. Can you love without levels and degrees? What levels and degrees were made for was to give you a false sense of control. That you are the decider of how much you offer love, how much you demonstrate love, how much honesty there is in every moment, and how much honesty are you willing to have with yourself, because that is truly the beginning of true honesty. To be able to look within with honesty, to see the beliefs that have been held that say no to love, or the belief in fear, the belief in one fear being less than another fear. I can walk in this kind of fear, but I can't walk in this kind of fear because this is more fear than this is. And eventually, in the surrender into love, you give it all. All the beliefs of fear, all the beliefs of controlling fear or anything, it's all given over. Something put on the coat rack that if you no longer carry its weight, you will look less cunning and dangerous and less inclined to explode. So this becomes the question, what would you be better off without? And that if you no longer carried its weight, you would look less cunning and dangerous and less inclined to explode. Now, what does the ego first say? That's not me. I don't have anything cunning. I'm not dangerous. I'm not going to explode. You must be talking about somebody else. But there is not one beloved who has walked in an ego identity that has not been cunning or dangerous in their belief of separation or inclined to explode. All of those elements are painful, untrue elements of the false identity. But how can you see the falseness unless you have the honesty within to look at it squarely, the honesty to see what's in the way? And you will know more mirth if a thorn in your mind you let me keep. You will know more mirth. How is that possible? If you allow the divine to put a thorn in your mind. What is the thorn for? It's to keep waking you up. The complacency of the ego is one of the strategies that the ego uses of losing or not finding the enthusiasm, the anticipation of reality of love. That's what the pincushion is for. That's what the thorn is for in the mind, to keep waking up from the ego state and finding that place of, yeah, that's right, keep me awake because I want to remember. I want to remember, and I want the divine to take that thorn and just kind of touch the mind every once in a while to when there is something made up that's going on. And not be worried about, do I like this? Don't I like this? But God, do whatever is necessary to help me remember. I'm willing. Then the scent of your love will reach others and help draw them from their places of hiding. And by then, you will recognize those places of hiding because you were in those same places in the past, hiding from the truth of yourself, hiding from love, hiding from the complete equality of love that connects, not only connects you, but that you are one with all beloveds. Can you be one with all beloveds? Of course, but are you willing to be one with all beloveds? Or do you want to pick and choose who it is? More than likely, the person, the beloved that would come to be right next to you as close as possible would be the beloved who irritates you the most. Here I am for the rest of eternity, walking next to you. I'll hold your hand. I'll talk to you constantly. I'll remind you of everything from the past. Here I am. I'm not leaving. Who is that beloved who is walking next to you that you would not choose to have walk next to you? Through the honesty, you will learn a deeper awareness of your own self if you allow that question to be answered. Just like in grade school, when the teacher says, pick your partner, everybody runs to the one that they like the most. Oh, I'm going to walk with my best friend. I'm going to walk with the one that thinks I'm funny. I'm going to walk with the one that I can trust likes me. But in the spiritual journey, partner up, and the Holy Spirit brings the partner that will help you remember more quickly. They will entice out of your unconscious your judgments, your assessments, your irritations. And that's how they become your savior, because they are enticing you through their presence to bring out all the elements of disturbance that were hidden unconsciously. And now they're very conscious because they came forward. And that beloved really does become your savior, because they offered you the irritation to pull out from the unconscious all your thoughts, all your beliefs, all your desires to get rid of that beloved, and to walk with what you consider to be somebody more compatible. But they were the best possible one to walk with, because they brought you to such deeper healing than the complacency of surrounding yourself in your likes, the thorn in the mind that the divine puts there so that you can learn more quickly, so you can learn more fully. And all of those that come out of their hiding places, they won't need their shields anymore. And the world will be known as more miraculous, because you were willing to heal, because you were willing to follow, and you were willing to put all of those irritations, all of those levels and degrees, all of those knowings on the coat rack and become free, because it's where you belong and it's what you came here for, to enter into freedom. And to set all the other beloveds free also that you've ever known, and to see them as they truly are. To see them without their names, without their identities, without their personalities, without their style, their cadence, their culture, their past. All of it surrendered, so that you can see them truly and offer them love for the first time. For the first time, offering them love. And being able to recognize within, I never loved you. I never even liked you. I didn't know who you were at all. Nothing about you did I really know, because I was believing in your identity that I gave you. And moving closer to them, because you're there to learn who they truly are, and to let go of all that was made up about them. When you enter into love, you realize that you are alone in nothing. Every single thought that you have teaches the universe my beliefs. So this is a beautiful place of learning. Every single thought, everything that you think or say or do, leaves an imprint of your opinions on the universe, teaches the universe what you think you are. And that's where the divine goes to read what it is that you're really looking for. Oh, millions of assessments, millions of good and bad, right and wrong, likes and dislikes. And that's just for one beloved. Millions that have been daily, a daily litany of knowing. And the universe then is able to discern what it is that you need for your remembering. Because even though it's all assessments and opinions and knowing of some kind, the divine recognizes that it's a call for love, a cry for love, and answers that cry. Usually by providing the beloved that irritates you the most to come and be more fully in your life so that you can see for yourself the pain of your judgments and assessments. Because it isn't the beloved who's walking next to you that is irritating you, it's your judgments and assessments. That's where the pain is. It's not in the other. It's just in the mind. And that's why the thorn that's in the mind is going to help you remember, because it brings you back to paying attention and seeing where and what the truth is. I am alone in nothing. That is the awareness. Whether that beloved is walking next to you physically or they are walking next to you because they are in your mind, and the temptation is to be irritated by them. The temptation is to be feeling superior to them. The temptation is to be right by seeing what's wrong with them. And every time one of those comes up, makes a place in the universe that can be seen by the divine to see exactly how much more you need to come back to sanity. Every nuance of irritation or idea that you don't like somebody, that you are irritated with somebody, or that you like somebody personally because of their role, their position, their persona, you're holding them as a prisoner instead of wanting to see the truth of who they are and allowing them to be the light of God. Can you give them that? Do you want to give them that? Do you have any inclination to give them that? Or does the opposite come up? No, they are who I say they are. They are what I made them, and I want them to stay that way. In that statement, no, I want them to stay as I want them to be for me. Where is the love? Where is the devotion? It's to not be fooled by the ego's intention of keeping everyone as a prisoner in identity. Don't allow the ego to convince that this is what you're here for. If you try and justify your thoughts of judgment, of opinions, then the pain becomes more acute because of the trying to justify. Allow your thoughts to be brought to the light as deeply and as fully as possible. Question all those thoughts. There's nothing more disturbing, well, maybe there are, but it's disturbing enough to believe that you are irritated from something outside you. You come home and you can't shake whatever it is that you're upset about or irritated with. And you keep thinking, I know who it was. I know it was this person that made me irritated. I know it was that. I can feel it. Everything that they did, everything that they said, everything that I didn't like it. I still don't like it. It was irritating and I want it to stop. Except it doesn't stop. It doesn't stop when you aren't in their direct vicinity. It doesn't stop because it's in your mind. Everything that you think is coming from them is coming from your own mind and being exactly what it is that you need to learn. But as long as you keep thinking that it's them, there won't be any healing. There won't be any learning. It's not an easy place to go when you have spent your life defending yourself, trying to prove your worth. And now in the spiritual journey, you're asked to come to a place of honesty and see that there is nothing outside your own mind. And that every single assessment or thought that you have of somebody else is actually what you believe about yourself and the belief of the irritation to begin with. Let's say somebody has a voice that is loud and grating. And every time you hear that voice, you have a reaction. It has nothing to do with the beloved who's talking. It has to do with your belief that the irritating voice is identified and you know what it is and you know what it means. And more than likely, it's going to be something that you've believed for all this incarnation, and it's been represented with others. That's how insanity works. It keeps coming until finally you can see it for what it is. Healing becomes exponentially deeper and faster as you accept that there is nothing outside your own mind. Because that, as soon as you get that it's not outside your own mind, then you know where the problem is. The problem is in your mind. It's not in someone else's activities. It just doesn't work in that way. When you have judgments from one mind to another beloved as unworthy or worthy or deserving punishment, that punishment ends up being within you because your mind is in distress, your mind is in hatred, and the punishment becomes personal. It never leaves. When you try to judge another, the judgment doesn't actually go anywhere. The judgment stays in your mind and becomes your pain. And it's judgment of all kinds. We think of judgment as negativity, but judgment is, I really like the way she does this. I like that. I like this about her. I don't like this about that one. I'm really liking this about that one. All of that is judgment. And it's all coming from a place that has no reality. It's coming from your own past. I used to hate if somebody ate with their mouth open. I knew where it came from. It doesn't even matter where it came from. It came from my own mind. And I would become agitated and irritated because somebody was eating with their mouth open. And that was my prison. That was my self-attack. Had nothing to do with the other. It had to do with the belief that there was something wrong. I made it up, and I suffered with it because I thought I was getting rid of it by being irritated with them. Nope, didn't go anywhere, just stayed as an irritation within. This is the way of healing, is to realize that there's no getting rid of judgment except through forgiveness and letting it go. But to forgive yourself for all judgment and all opinions, because, and as they occur, because when you try to put them on somebody else, that is a pain that is like a double pain. You end up with the pain of the judgment to begin with, and then you end up with the pain of the judgment of the other beloved. You are bereft because you have said, no, I hate you, or whatever it is, to yourself, because every beloved is you. How powerful you are to have that much ability to love or hate, to put yourself in prison or to set yourself free. That's the power of the mind. Whether it's being used by love or it's being used by the insanity of separation, it has the same power. And all that you're being asked to do is to realize that you don't want this anymore. You want to put it on the coat rack because it's a lie, because it's made up. What I see witnesses to what I believe and think. Everything that you see is a witness to what you believe and think. Every beloved sees a different picture depending on what they believe and think. That's at the center of your healing, the center of remembering. And to be able to stop being upset because you believe you see something that you believe means something to you, and you'd rather be right than free. But in truth, when you really ask yourself, what is it that you truly want? What is it that you truly want? You want peace, you want joy, you want harmony, you want love. And that doesn't include any of your judgments or assessments. It's to be free of that prison, self-made prison that you've believed in. Every single beloved self-attacks constantly, not because of some particular wound. It's part of the ego makeup. You have to attack yourself. It doesn't, your thoughts don't go anywhere else. So if you have felt attacked, if you have felt unloved, it's because the God that was being worshipped was a self-made identity called the ego that became worshipped and followed. But it's time to let it go. It's time to see it for what it is. It's not a friend. It's not an identity. It's fear. Straight up fear. Fear and hatred are the same, because every ounce of fear that you have is like an attack of your heart. Hatred and fear are the same. And it's time to let them both go. No longer wanting them to be in charge. How can you learn to love with judgment? You can't. So the empty space that you enter after letting go of your opinions and your assessments, your judgments, that's where the learning is. The learning is in that open space that is free from the judgments and opinions, even if it's for 2 minutes, opening that space and letting love show you the truth of love. Embracing every beloved as the divine, not as who you liked, who you didn't like, who you liked their personality, who you didn't like how they behaved, whatever. Letting it all go and loving without conditions. No conditions. Not if they're like this, not if they're this, not if they agree with you, not because you have things in common. Those are all conditions. Love without conditions. If they spew green slime, means nothing. If they have an irritating voice, nothing. You look past everything that you made up and embrace the divine that is waiting to be embraced. Put everything else on the coat rack. That's what it's for. Just to remember the truth of love.